Hello, my name is Angelina Oliver, and today I stand before you to discuss Thomas Jefferson and his political life. Now, Thomas Jefferson was undoubtedly a great man who accomplished much for his country. However, his political life was full of inconsistencies. We must remember him as not only a founding father, but as an imperfect human being who was capable of making mistakes. To get to know Thomas Jefferson, we must understand that he was not a huge supporter of the Constitution. He rightly believed that the Constitution was put into place for the people to be more in control of the government than the government was in control of the people. The Federalists, on the other hand, believed in large government that was supported by the wealthy citizens, and as such gave the wealthy citizens more power as an incentive. The Republicans believed that power should be equally distributed to all, and however, this didn't line up with the country's economic plans. Thomas Jefferson, therefore, only felt led to support the Constitution once Federalist John Adams promised to add a Bill of Rights on account of the people. Later on, in 1787, a Federalist opponent of Thomas Jefferson reared his head. This man was Alexander Hamilton, a man deeply involved in the financial aspects of the United States. Alexander Hamilton wanted to establish a national bank to aid in all the debt accumulated after the Revolutionary War. However, there is a problem. There is no provision in the Constitution permitting the establishment of a national bank. Alexander Hamilton, however, felt he was supported by the necessary and proper clause, which states that as long as a clause is both necessary and proper, legislation can be overruled by the federal government. This was a very lenient take on the clause, and one that Thomas Jefferson firmly disagreed with. He didn't think that the national bank was necessary or proper, and therefore should not have been permitted. However, he was ultimately overruled as George Washington, the president at the time, sided with Hamilton. This was a staggering blow to the Republican Party, as they were seeing their federal government override one of its own rules. Further down the road, 14 years to be precise, Thomas Jefferson became the President of the United States. During this time, Napoleon Bonaparte was rampaging all over Europe and needed funds to support his war efforts, so he turned to his new territory in North America, the Louisiana Territory, and decided to sell it to the Americans for $22 million. Now, Thomas Jefferson was growing weary of the European conflict, and feared that should the French choose to invade America, they would take advantage of the Mississippi River, which connected the two lands. So he sent two negotiators into France to purchase the Mississippi River for up to $10 million. It was months later that the negotiators had come back, having purchased not only the Mississippi River, but the entire Louisiana Territory, at the incredible rate of 2 cents per acre, or $15 million in all. Now, as profitable as this deal might have been, it was far from legal, as there was no provision in the Constitution permitting the buying of foreign land, much less of adding that land to the existing United States. Thomas Jefferson attempted to have an amendment made, however, this failed, and he ultimately had to turn to the Federalists to convince them to accept the proposition before the deadline of the treaty, which wasn't difficult, as he only had to convince them to agree to their own position of more federal power to override the Constitution. Now, Thomas Jefferson was extremely conflicted in his political career. He initially disagreed with the Constitution, and then he used it against Alexander Hamilton in 1787 in the affair of the National Bank. Later, he overstepped the Constitution in the purchase of the Louisiana Territory, and increased big government to do so, which went against his campaign promises and the entire aim of his political party. But as it is, we must remember Thomas Jefferson's own words. Quote, "We must rely on the nation to sanctify an act done for its own great good." Unquote. National Constitution Center. And Thomas Jefferson was extremely conflicted in his political career. However, he remains a legend to this day for his large part in building up the young nation and for doubling the size of it. And for that, he has my respect. Thank you. That concludes my presentation.